All right, thanks everyone for tuning in with us tonight. My name's Sarah, this is my husband Brett, and together along with our good friend Jennifer Evans, we will be hosting tonight's call, talking all about the science. And this is a really exciting call for us because usually with events we just don't get to share this stuff. So we're going to dig into a lot of different research. But first of all, just want to welcome you guys. It might be your first time, being connected to this information, or you might already be on board taking Juice Plus, or maybe you are a friend or spouse of someone who is excited about Juice Plus, and maybe you've been wondering why. And so I hope that this call really explains that and helps you to understand the why behind the wow and why we are so excited about this mission that we are on. So myself, Brett, Jen, we're all part of a community that is dedicated to inspiring health and helping people take their health back. And we're really passionate about prevention and helping people to keep their health, which is a lot easier to do than to try to get it back after it's gone. So we really discovered that there are simple changes, and this is scientifically proven, which is exciting to share tonight, the simple changes that make a really big difference and impact in the long run. So we, along with, and Brett, as a doctor of chiropractic, along with thousands of healthcare professionals, have aligned with this mission, sharing our Juice Plus products, our mission with the world because of the science basis behind it. So we are passionate about empowering people with the tools and the programs that we have to offer, and it all starts with our nutritional foundation, which is our Juice Plus. And we will share a little bit of what that is, as well as the research on fruits and vegetables, and the research that's directly on our product. We're going to share a bit about our studies, our favorite studies, as well as our stories. So we hope that you hear something of value tonight. I want to leave it open for questions afterwards. Maybe there's a question that we won't answer. So if there's something that you really want us to touch on, please maybe write it in the chat and we can get to it at the end and answer any questions that anyone might have. So that's what tonight is all about. I'm just gonna share my screen here and get a little visual up. Alrighty, so it's really no surprise that health is such a big topic, and that fruits and vegetables and what we eat in our lifestyle is, hold on a second, let me just do that. Let me show at least mine. Thanks. Okay, we're clicking buttons here. So our biggest thing is that, chronic illness is on the rise in virtually all areas. So rates of cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, even things like autoimmune seem to be on the rise and in younger and younger populations. So for us, that's not okay. And if there's anything that we can do about that, then we definitely want to. And our lifestyle and the relationship between nutrition and disease specifically is something that really keeps us going and sharing. And the power of nutrition is really undeniable, and specifically a diet that centers around plants and highly concentrated in fruits and vegetables. So I'm just going to dig into a little bit about the power of fruits and vegetables, and really, what do we know? What has the research shown? What has the science shown about why it is so important to eat enough fruits and vegetables every single day? Whether you are a child or an adult or a senior, we all need this fuel for our bodies to thrive. It's not just something that's good for us, it's something that can really highly impact our quality of life throughout our life and as we age. So what does the research show? This is one of my favorite studies, and I'm not sure if this is cutting it out. Is that cutting it out? Okay. So this study was conducted at UCL, and what I like about this study is that it was a long-term study. This is 13 years of time where they followed a lot of people, and they tracked two things. They tracked how many servings of fruits and vegetables they ate on a daily basis, and then they looked in that 13-year study at the rate of mortality. And so then they were able to see that the more fruits and vegetables people consumed, the less likely they were to have passed away within that 13-year study. So much so that when people ate the recommended amount of servings every day, which is 7 or more servings per day, that's the size of your fist like this, 7 of those at least, they were nearly half as likely as the others to have passed away in that 13-year span. These people also had a reduced risk of cancer and heart disease by 25% and 31% respectively. So to me, like, this sums it all up. But there have been so many studies. It's such a big area of research. If you go onto any medical research database, you will see these types of things being studied. So we know that diet can play a role in developmental disorders such as ADHD, autism, or learning disabilities. Important phytonutrients like anthocyanins, which is what is the pigment responsible for red, purple, and blue colors of many fruits and vegetables, known to decrease inflammation, and inflammation is one of the root causes of all disease. Even fruits and veggies increasing alkalinity and what that does in the body. When we eat fruits and veg, it creates an alkaline ash in our body, as opposed to an acidic ash. And in an alkaline environment, things like cancer cannot thrive. So there's research on that. Fruits and veg and blood pressure. Having more colors in your diet, fighting against heart disease. Lycopene, which is a common nutrient that we know of that is in tomatoes, can help protect from stroke. Drinking fruit and vegetable juice improves the skin. And even risk of cataracts. All of these things have been proven to make a risk. So arthritis. Cancer prevention is a big one. If you look at the American Cancer Association's recommendations, they are very strong in saying eat your fruits and vegetables. They do not say take your vitamins. So that's something we're going to share about. And then omega-3s. Most of us are deficient, and every single cell in your body needs omegas. So there's lots of evidence showing just how vital it is to get that as well. So how much is enough fruits and vegetables? 7 to 13 servings is what the recommendations are on average. And so you can see Canada's new food guide there. I don't know if you guys remember the old-fashioned pyramid food guide that there used to be. And it was personally not something I could stand behind when I was talking to clients, but this makes sense. This is based on the new research and really brings that in. And look, at half of the plate is fruits and veggies. They say eat protein foods, not necessarily meat. There can be plant-based sources of protein as well as whole grains. So all of these things are important to your vitality. It also says make water your drink of choice, which is interesting because before it would say make milk, like making sure to drink your milk. So it's just showing they're following science. Like the Canada Food Guide is finally up and up with the research, which is nice to see. So what is the reason why? Like, I know when I first heard that recommendation of the 7 to 13 servings or 10 servings a day, when you consider that that is like this size, that is a lot of fruits and veggies. And for me, my first question was, how is that possible? Like, who can actually attain that, and why is it so high? Because it used to be 5 a day was fine. That's what they said. But if you look at how much our food quality has changed over the past 50, 60, 70 years, it's changed significantly. So you can see on this chart here, this is just in a 40-year span, but you can see that all of the green highlighted parts is a decline in nutrient value of these different types of foods. So even up to 100% less nutrient in some of these areas. But I think on average, like probably 60, safe to say like 60 to 80% decrease in the nutrition. And part of that is because the soil that they're growing in is not nutrient dense. It doesn't have to be. Even organic produce does not have to be grown in nutrient dense soil, and it's definitely not grown until fully ripe. So all of those things factor into why we need to have so much fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to introduce our friend Jen Evans, and she is a registered nurse. She's been working in healthcare for the past 10 years in community nursing, transition services, and home care. And with her experiences in the hospital, she's become very passionate about prevention and helping people not end up in the hospital, because as she's very open about, it's not the best place to be. So I'm going to let her share her passion around our mission, and she's going to share all about Juice Plus and why it made sense to her as a healthcare professional.
Thanks, Sarah. So yeah, I'll just take over and chat. It's interesting with healthcare, we're always talking about eating more fruits and vegetables. So great information all around. We want people to eat as many fruits and veg as they can. And it's interesting though, because I found that Juice Plus is something so simple that it helps. It's like an addition. So I don't want people to stop eating fruits and vegetables. It's an addition on top of eating as many as they can, but life gets busy and things can get complicated. So Juice Plus really helps to bridge the gap between what we're supposed to eat and what we actually are eating. So I don't know a lot of people that actually eat 7 or more servings a day, like you mentioned. So Juice Plus is a really cool tool that I like to recommend, and such a great consistent thing that people can take every single day as well. So we are doing the best that we can. A lot of people are, and like with my background, even like athletic background, healthcare, I'm trying to do the best I can myself. But even me, I thought Juice Plus could be something so simple. It's like that foundation, nutritional foundation, like you were saying. So, and it's just highly concentrated nutrition. For me, honestly, family, friends, clients, it's the easiest, simplest, and most consistent like habit. They just take the capsules, put them in their mouth, big glass of water, and then that's it. So I really like the visual that you have up, because people actually stick to it then, and then it's a habit, and it actually helps with lifestyle change, can be a catalyst as well. So why Juice Plus? Like, what is Juice Plus? So if you can eat 30, you see all the different variety on there, raw, vine ripened, whole fruits, vegetables, and berries. So they're using the pits, the peels, all the nutritious parts. Like I don't eat the peel of an orange, and in Juice Plus, they use the peel. And so if you were eating that every single day, 30 different of that, then you probably don't need Juice Plus, but I don't really know anyone who can do that. I might have 2, 3, 4 servings a day, and of the usual, like I have a salad or some kale in my smoothie and a banana and then an apple. So it's like the same thing. It's not a variety. So Juice Plus, you're getting that variety. It's grown at peak ripeness, like it's right off the vine. It gets all that nutrition, that last 24 hours, that big dump of nutrition. And like Sarah was saying, we're picking our produce really early and shipping it long ways. So it's probably not ripe, and it's probably full of chemicals on it. So Juice Plus, there's a variety. It's peak ripeness, and it's using the whole parts, like I said. So they ground it up in like a big giant Vitamix, and they're able to like grind it all up and make like a slurry. So that takes out the water, and the sugar follows it, which is really cool. So I can even recommend this to diabetics. And then they're able, with that slurry, it's almost like a fruit roll up. They're able to dehydrate it at a low temperature and then encapsulate it. So then the low temperature is good, because you don't want to heat things up, because there's actual live nutrition within Juice Plus. So I think that's just so cool. Like I said, it's so simple. I've been eating it for about 5 years now, and I highly recommend it, because like we said, if you know anyone who does eat 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, I'd like to kind of know what they're doing, because it's very difficult to do consistently every single day for that peace of mind, right? There's also some information, if she's able to switch slides, on complete as well. I love this shake because I don't actually eat, I never used to eat shakes before, like smoothies, but it's gluten-free, dairy-free. And as a nurse, I really like that it's low glycemic index. So your sugars aren't spiking when you eat it. Again, diabetics or people with sugar issues can eat this. Because of the high fiber content, that's what I'm looking for. I've been looking at a lot of powders lately and I can't find a very good amount of fiber in any of them. So this one's like chock full of fiber, which is great. And then it has good complex carbohydrates. And it's called complete because it's looking at all the different parts of nutrition, fats, carbs, and fiber as well, which is great. Plant-based as well, which is awesome. Another one that I really think is cool, it just came out recently, is a plant-based omega. And so, like it says, omegas they can support so many health benefits from heart, brain, joint, skin, and eyes. And it's, again, a spectrum of the omegas, not just omega-3. There's all the different kinds of omegas from 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, and 100% plant-based, which is really cool. They're using vegetarian capsules in a cold press to put them in the capsules, which is really cool. And then, of course, one of my favorites is a tower garden. And so these are just tools that the Juice Plus company has made available, and that's all that they have is the 4 different tools, which I find awesome. They're just simple. This is a vertical aeroponic gardening system, and it can grow. It grows 30 times more, and it's 3 times faster. So there's no dirt, no digging, no weeding. You can put it outside. You can have it inside. Uses 90% less water, so it's really good. It just has a pump at the bottom, and it pumps the water up and trickles down, and that's why it's aeroponics. And 90% less space, which is really great. So that's why it's vertical, because we are in a lot of places they're in drought, so we are not using as much water, and we don't have as much space with the population growing. So with myself, like, it's really cool. Like, we give a little bit of information about Juice Plus, and it's why I love it so much. And as a healthcare professional, is that it's the most researched nutritional product in the world. So as you can see, there's now we have 38 published studies, and they still have more being published. And you look at some of those names, like there's University of Toronto and Cambridge University, Georgetown University. I think there's Yale on there. Just high end. These are high quality places, institutions where they're doing this research. And Brett's going to go into more details later on about more information on different types of research, which is really important to know because not all research is the same. So I do like to share a little bit about some stories because I just keep hearing incredible stories of like healing and transformation from people. Mine is really quick because 5 years ago, Sarah had introduced it to me, and I was suffering from an inflammatory condition, and I wasn't looking for this. I thought I was healthy and I was doing everything that I thought I could, but I was having symptoms. So she said, just start eating Juice Plus. And I kind of wanted to do it the real way, like eating more fruits and vegetables, which a lot of healthcare professionals say to do, but it's easier said than done. So I was reluctant, but it made sense. It was so simple. So I started eating it. Within a couple of weeks, I had more energy, which was great. And then within a couple of months, I noticed didn't really have any symptoms. They were very minimal. And I was having symptoms before, probably 3 to 4 times a week. So what a drastic change. And for me, it was so wonderful because I was able to bring back some over-the-counter medications, and I don't have to take them anymore, which is really, really nice. And I can count on how, like, my hand, not even that many times I've had symptoms over the past 5 years. So going from 3 to 4 every day to less than 5 in 5 years, that's amazing and life-changing. So of course I would want to recommend it. And because that is based on science, so it's important to understand that if I was able to eat all those fruits and vegetables the way, like 30 raw, vine ripened and whole, that I would probably notice the same things, but I'm not actually able to do that every single day. So Juice Plus is just so simple. I love the Healthy Starts for Families program. I'll just touch on it quickly because Juice Plus actually has a program where kids and students, which I think is amazing, I wish I knew about this when I was in university, can eat Juice Plus for free. Up to 4 years, as long as a parent or they have a sponsor. You don't actually have to be your child eating Juice Plus. So I really like it because it's like that modeling behavior. So instead of the parents saying, you know, you should eat more fruits and vegetables, and then they're eating a bag of chips, they're doing it together because we want those habits to change as well along with your family. And if you're looking at look at 96% right at the bottom, that one's awesome. It's showing that we're reporting a positive benefit of some kind. So that's what I love about this, is even if your kid's eating more fruits and veg or less days at school or drinking more water, that's awesome, because this study is showing 96% had a positive impact from eating Juice Plus, which is really, really cool. So like I said, when I first heard about Juice Plus, like it was simple. It seems like such a no-brainer, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that eating more fruits and vegetables is a good thing. But that's why it's important to understand the why it's doing good things and the research behind it. So I love the scientific foundation of the research to really understand the why behind the wow, and that's what we're talking about today. So I'm going to send it back to Sarah, and she's just going to quickly talk a little bit more about the certifications and some interesting facts.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's so nice to hear you explain it all. You do that so well. And before we really dive into the research, and I'm going to let Brett do that part, but I just really want to share about our certifications. So a couple different things that really got me excited about what Jenna was saying is the nutrients she was talking about, because what food is and what a multivitamin is are very different things. And so I love to share that Juice Plus is food. It is not a multivitamin. And so sometimes people have questions about the labeling, and I'm so excited I get to actually go into this today, because we never get to go into this kind of stuff at an event. So if you were to look at a multivitamin label, you would see a list of 10 to 13 vitamins and minerals that man have deemed the most important in as highest quantities as possible, because the more the better, right? That seems to be the standard of care, man or woman, the standard of care when it comes to multivitamins and bridging our nutritional gap. That's been the way it has been for a long time. But the research more and more is coming out that our bodies don't actually process that in the same way as it would recognize and utilize food. But if you were to look at a label of an apple, for instance, it might not look very impressive next to this multivitamin label. I don't know if you guys can see all of that.
I can see the video strips.
Okay. But so you can see that it doesn't show anything in a huge quantity, but the beautiful thing about an apple, just like any whole food, is it contains thousands of phytonutrients, which just means plant nutrients. So that includes vitamins, minerals, polyphenols, enzymes, all of the different phytonutrients that we know about. And there are tons of phytonutrients that they haven't yet even recognized or labeled yet. They don't even know of all the phytonutrients. But we know that in an apple, here's a list of just a few of the thousands that are in an apple. I believe in an apple there are, I'm going to say 10,000. That would be 20 more pages like this to show you what is in an apple. So which would be more powerful in your body? Your body knows exactly what to do with this in all the ratios. It does take more than an apple a day to keep the doctor away from the research. You need the variety. And that's the beauty of what's in Juice Plus. So I get some questions sometimes, and I love questions. Like, we're happy if you guys have any sort of thing that's been a hang up for you or you're just unsure about, just put it in the chat and we will do our best to answer it. One of the questions people have is, because the label on Juice Plus, it looks more like a food label, then is that all that's in Juice Plus, like just what's listed? Because it tells you all the fruits and veggies and it tells you a few of the vitamins, but the truth is you can't standardize nature. So if I wanted to know and list all of the phytonutrients contained, that could not ever fit on a label. But what I love is that we actually have proof that what Juice Plus is, what is labeled on there is what Juice Plus is and nothing else. So that NSF certification that we have is a third party that will come in and test the produce and our capsules to make sure that what we are saying is in there, that it is just fruits and vegetables, that there are no contaminants, heavy metals, molds, pesticides. We know that it's pure, and that's what makes it safe for anyone to take. Kids, pregnancy, breastfeeding, seniors, Olympic athletes. Everything is clean and pure. We've held that certification for over 25 years. So that is impressive in and of itself. But if that doesn't make a difference for you, then this study really should. So they went ahead, this, I believe it was in Italy? No, this isn't the Italy one. The UK, I can see it now. And they tested to see, you know, what types of phytonutrients could be found in Juice Plus. So they tested to date, there are at least 133 different phytonutrients that have been analyzed and found present. So obviously there is a ton more in there, as we know, 10,000 in an apple, but they've already said that that's how many are in there. So to me, that proves 1,000,000% that this is fruits and vegetables. Because sometimes I think we hear things or we get skeptical, and I get it. I get like that too. But this proves it. I know that when they do different consumer reports and things, taking things off the shelf, it's not uncommon for a lot of supplements like this to have different fillers and things. So it may not actually contain what they say it's containing. So this is what I love about our company, that they invest in this type of research so that we know and we have assurance that what we're doing and investing for our families is a really good thing. And another just tag on to that is this polyphenol study that they've recently done. And really, polyphenols are just another phytonutrient. They've been known to reduce cancer and heart disease. They're really important, found in fruits and veggies. And so what they did is they had, they tested the blood of people. It was just a one-day study. So they had these people eating a very low polyphenol diet for quite some time, I think about 2 weeks, so that they could test what polyphenols not were just present in Juice Plus, but were actually then absorbed into your body, because that's another thing of bioavailability. So they found that after an hour to 2 hours, there were already polyphenols showing up in the blood for these people. So that suggests that some of them are absorbed in the the upper digestive tract. And then after 5 to 10 hours, there were more polyphenols being introduced into the bloodstream from taking their capsules. They actually only took half dose too. They took 1 capsule of each. So that suggests that it's also being absorbed in the lower digestive tract. For anyone who has, a compromised digestive system, this is important, because a lot of people with Crohn's, colitis, and autoimmune or IBS have such inflammation going on that if they try to eat raw fruits and veg, it's very hard in the system to absorb this stuff. So what I love about that for those people is that they don't have to, work it down mechanically. It is ready to be absorbed. Also from this, they also found that there were polyphenols showing up in the blood that were not even present in Juice Plus. So what the researchers said is that the body is converting those polyphenols into different compounds that are beneficial for the body. So isn't that a magical thing of the microbiome and of food synergy? That's my little tangent, and I'm gonna let Brett take over now, because I know he has lots of good insight to share on the research specifically. So I realize now that I did not do a very good job in introducing myself in the beginning. I was so excited to get this call started. Brett introduced me to Juice Plus when we started dating in high school. So I've been on it for about 15 years. And for me, what the things that I noticed the most were just increased immune system, also digestive health really improved, less inflammation in my body. And those are all just natural effects of the Juice Plus. But I'm going to let Brett take it away. I know just, I didn't introduce, I'm a certified holistic nutritional consultant as well. And learning about this stuff is really what helped me become more interested in going back to school after my Bachelor of Education and studying nutrition. So I have to thank Brett for that and setting me on this path. And he's going to share with us his story and the quality of research.
To expand a little bit more on that story, it wasn't entirely accurate. What had happened was, for about a year, I told Sarah that there was probably something in her diet she was allergic to, which fell on deaf ears. And then our roommate at the time repeated the exact same thing that I had been saying, and she went, "You might be right." So that's actually how it all began, which is the classic dynamic of, we don't always listen to the people close to us, but you know what, it was okay, because her health increased and it took us down a different path than we thought, and always for the better. But as Sarah said before, my name is Brett. I'm a chiropractor, a second-generation chiropractor here in the Edmonton area. I have 2 practices, and I focus a lot on multidisciplinary practice. So we have all these different modalities when you step into our building, and we really try to attack from all different angles to make sure that we're helping everybody. And in both clinics, Juice Plus is our main nutritional kind of guide that we give to people. And the reason for that is the journey that I went on back in 2003, where I was in a major car accident. I hurt myself really bad, almost didn't survive. They pieced me back together, but really shortly afterwards, they found that I wasn't healing. My body was struggling to keep up. And it was only when I changed my nutrition, in particular added Juice Plus to my diet, that all of a sudden I began to heal at rates quicker than expected, and actually healed beyond what the doctors had ever expected me to get to. I was told I would never return to sports, which I returned to. Took me 7 years, but I was able to get back into them, and I'm pretty full out now, and I have my nutritional change to thank for that in regards to Juice Plus. So it's something that you can't pay me enough money to not take, and it's something you can hear I'm very passionate about, and I will always be passionate about. In my honest opinion, Juice Plus is pretty much for everybody. So we're going to change gears a little bit and go into the research a little bit deeper. I'm going to go into what the Juice Plus research shows. Okay. So this is pretty dry material, so throw your glasses on, hike your pants up. Let's get a little bit nerd here, okay? So a summary of what Juice Plus is, as Jenna had stated, it's 38 peer-reviewed, 38 published studies. They are gold standard, the vast majority being double-blind, placebo, randomized controlled trials. The ones that aren't were due to ethics. We can go into that a little bit deeper if you want, but Juice Plus strives to have every single one at full out, the highest quality they can possibly get. They're done by secondary reputable institutions, much like Jenna was saying, some big names on that list of institutions that hold this research, which means that their name is on the line. And this is completed on human subjects using Juice Plus. These are not piggyback studies. These are not saying, oh, there's vitamin A in this, therefore this study showed vitamin A was good, our product has vitamin A, therefore you're getting the full results of vitamin A. Nuh-uh, that doesn't work. That's piggyback studies. That is not okay. That is not real. There's a lot of other studies that are not completed on humans. They're completed on animals, or they're completed in different ways, not using actual people. These are real people and real studies done over, like I said, through really reputable institutions. And they're peer-reviewed and published in prestigious health journals. This is a big kicker because and I'll dig into this a little bit more, with all the information that flies around on the internet, trying to figure out where to get your information from can be really difficult. And then you learn about how companies pay for their research and where does this funding come from? Is there inherent bias in there? Once it goes peer reviewed and it goes through that panel of people who sit down there, have their licenses on the line and their reputation on the line, meaning that if they are paid to let something go through, they take a big hit in the view in the science community. They will not do that. You cannot pay for peer reviewed research. If it passes that and is published in prestigious health journals, the argument of bias is inherently gone, because if they find any within the study, they axe it really quickly. I'm happy to state that pretty much all the Juice Plus research is peer-reviewed and published in prestigious health journals. In fact, some of the high doctors, the really big guys, especially in the states that recommend it, found Juice Plus within their research articles. They were going through their journals and they went, what's this stuff? And that's how they became interested in, which is really cool. So I'm going to go a little bit into the hierarchy of research and where the proper research comes from, so you can be a little bit more critical when you're reading through stuff. At the very bottom, you'll see editorials and expert opinion. That's the worst. That is the lowest form. That is opinion. That is the stuff you're going to see on Facebook. That's that one friend that has an opinion on everything, yet no background on anything. Those are the things that you need to be very careful of. As we make our way up and we go to mechanistic studies, case reports, case studies, cross-sectional studies, surveys, case control studies, we start getting higher and higher in quality of evidence. At the very top, you're going to see systematic reviews and meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials. I'll go into that one. But right below that is randomized controlled trials. As I stated before, this is where Juice Plus research sits. It is double-blind placebo studies, and they're randomized, meaning that the researchers and the participants don't know if they are on or off the product. They are completely blind on both sides. There is no bias within it. They use a placebo, meaning that there's half the group that will take the real product and half the group that will take something so very similar in every single way that there's no way that they can tell the difference between them. This allows to pull inherent bias out of it and is at the top for a reason. So one really cool thing I mentioned about the systematic reviews is that Juice Plus has actually completed a systematic review already at the University of Toronto, and there's 2 other systematic reviews of Juice Plus's randomized controlled trials underway at the University of, I always screw this up, Padua? Question mark? And the University of Colorado. So that's going to be really exciting when I see those come out, because it's going to compile all the randomized controlled trials, all the information that has been created through these 38 and ongoing studies, and it's going to create this beautiful image of the impact. And the biggest thing it's going to go after is quality of life and impact in our community for health. And what I mean by that is something that's really big right now, the silver tsunami coming through the medical system, is the wave of the baby boomers as they age and as their health deteriorates a little bit and they start pulling on our health system. That's starting to push us past the ability to actually stay ahead of it. We're falling behind, and we're noticing that we're falling, wait times for surgeries and procedures and everything is getting harder and harder to keep up with. And this is the reason why. So this systematic review is going to go through that impact and how positive prevention and health can really help take that pressure off of the system moving forward, which is massive, absolutely massive. So what does the research show? One of the things I love the most about the company is to not lead by hype. We never say, we are the best, this is the best, you got to try this, it's going to be the best for you and the best for that. We don't do that. We lead with fact. We do not treat specific ailments or make health claims, meaning that we don't go after specific things. All we're trying to do, very simply put, is provide natural nutrients to your body to make sure it's performing at its optimal. All right? So we'll dig a little bit deeper into, well, what the research shows. There are 19 studies that show bioavailability, meaning that the product not only gets into your bloodstream, is pulled out of your bloodstream and makes it to the cellular level and even to the DNA level. 19 that represent that. There are 14 studies that show a reduction in oxidative stress and have positive redox biology reactions. There are 4 studies that show a reduction in systemic inflammation, which Sarah stated, inflammation is being found to be at the core of vast majority of all disease within the body, which is absolutely massive when it comes to pretty much anything. Inflammation can be a factor, away from mental health to your common flus and colds, cancer, heart disease, the 2 biggest killers in our society. There are 5 studies showing a strengthening in our immune system, so I just talked about with colds and flus. So a lot of people that have, one of the biggest reported side effects of Juice Plus, and Sarah will kind of attribute to that, is people get sick way less often. So they wanted to see if this is actually a real thing, or these are just maybe just I don't know, a coincidence. And no, there's 5 studies that show why that happens and how it happens. There are 7 studies that show that Juice Plus protects DNA and supports with healthy nutrigenomics, which is the dimmer switches that turn your genes up and down, which is vastly important for things like heart disease and cancer. There's actually only 2 things in the planet that have been proven to protect DNA, and that's fruits and vegetables and Juice Plus. There are 7 studies that show an improvement of cardiovascular wellness. Once again, like I said, one of the 2 biggest killers in our society. There are 2 studies that show that Juice Plus supports healthy skin. There are 2 studies that show an improvement in dental health, which is really important for all you teeth people out there. I think part of her face is still a little numb from her dental appointment this morning. This one's big. 1 study so far showing an increase in quality of life, a factor that many practitioners do miss. They may be able to fix the problem, get the job done, but they don't increase the person's quality of life. And I think we'd all like to have that good quality of life moving forward in time, right? We have 4 studies that show reducing effects of obesity, and I'm going to get into that one a lot more in a little bit here. There's 1 study that shows an improvement of lung health, which is kind of important. We need to breathe. So this is that study I wanted to get into. This is a study done at the University of Newcastle in Australia. And this one's really important. I'm going to dig into why this is important. So one of the biggest things we see in our society, and this is not something new, is the higher rates of obesity. We live above a country that was #1 in the world for obesity rates, and now we live above a country who is #2 to the country below them, being Mexico, being the most morbidly obese country on the planet, which is insane that they're back to back next to each other. And this is directly related to lifestyle and diet. Diet is the big one there. I'll give you some facts about obesity and why I'm very passionate about taking care of this and having a clear understanding of what obesity does to the body. It's a massive problem, and one of the biggest things that it does is it drastically increases free radical damage or oxidative stress within the body to the point the body cannot keep up with it, and it's run out of control. Due to that, the studies show that you will have a life expectancy 5 to 20 years less than those people that are not obese. Things that it affects you with as the diseases that you have a drastic increase in getting cardiovascular disease, mostly myocardial infarctions or heart attacks, and stroke would be the biggest killers, diabetes, fatty liver, something called obesity hyperventilation syndrome, which is your body becoming so acidic that you have to breathe to try to get that CO2 out to decrease the acidity within your body. So people are hyperventilating, their breath is going way too fast and their body can't keep up. Abnormal kidney function and early kidney failure, infertility and subfertility, people having difficulties getting pregnant or becoming completely infertile. I think that's a big problem. Gastrointestinal reflux disorder, so a little bit of GERD, so a lot of indigestion issues. Cancer goes along with what I've repeated over and over, but one of the biggest killers in our world. Increased medications chronically. Not just for a little bit, for little things here and there, but people that are put on meds for the rest of their lives, which is scary because no medication on the planet cures anything. It is strictly a band-aid to get you A to B and hopefully fix the problem in between. But they're finding with obesity that they can't fix the problem. So people are put on these meds for life. And then a decrease in overall function and decrease in quality of life. That's a really big one. So what does weight loss show? Why is losing that weight really, really important? This is an actual systematic review that I was able to find and hunt down about. Actually, this one I think was done in Europe over multiple countries. They showed that with weight loss, going to a lower BMI level is that there's a 56% decrease in arterial disease, 92% decrease in diabetes, and 60% decrease in cancer just from losing weight. That is insane. And the studies show that there's anywhere from a 33 to 89% decrease in mortality rates, which is bonkers. Basically, you have a third of chance, at worst, you have a third of chance in living longer, all the way up to pretty much 90%. That's a crazy number to think about. So the reason why I like this study is that it digs into that. What happened is there are about 50 people that were put on Juice Plus, the trio, so the fruits, the vegetables, and the berries for only 8 weeks. That's 56 days, guys. That is a blip in time, and the results were pretty incredible. Of the two groups, the placebo and the group that went on Juice Plus, there was a subset of group. There were people that were seen to have chronic inflammatory responses within the body and people that have non-chronic. So kind of they go up and down with their inflammation. The people that were non-chronic or acute had a 3.5% decrease in cholesterol. And when they tested all the inflammatory factors within the body, they attributed to the equivalent of losing 9 pounds of body mass and an increase in 9% or a decrease of 9% of cardiovascular disease, which is insane. That's 56 days. That is, like I said, a small blip with just adding a better concentrated nutrition to their body. That other subset with the chronic inflammatory, they dropped 7% in cholesterol, an equivalence of 20 pounds of weight, and a decrease of 19% to cardiovascular disease, which is once again absolutely bonkers. They also, along with that, had a decrease in LDL, which is the bad fat in your body, an increase in lean body mass, and they decided to go a little bit further. The researchers went, holy crap. So they dug deeper and went after the genetics, they went after the DNA, and they found that over 1,600 genes were affected just within those 56 days. So the ability for this product to not only hit you on a macro level, but at a micro level, protecting your DNA is absolutely insane. Like the level of this research, when I saw this one come out, there's not a lot of people that get excited about research, but when I read this, I was getting pretty nerdy for a little bit. So it was absolutely incredible. I love that one, but this is one of 38 that are published right now, and I assure you, all the other ones are about as powerful.
That's exciting, like 1,600 positively affected genes. And we know that genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So even though I might have a predisposition for something like heart disease in my family, my lifestyle choices are going to either turn on or off that switch. So 1,600 of those genes turned off, like in a positive way. That's amazing. So I'm going to let Jen share her favorite study having to do with heart health.
Thanks. Yeah, that one is amazing. I love that study so much. Thanks for sharing, Brett. And they're all so great. One that I really like, because heart disease is such a killer, like you were saying. It's and it's a really bad one for women too. It's such a bad like heart disease, cardiovascular issues. So one of my favorite studies is studied, it was published in the Journal of American College of Cardiology. So that's like the Porsche of cars with the cardiology sector. So I get really pumped and jazzed about that. It's a very prestigious journal. And it was looking at the effects of Juice Plus on the vasoactivity of the brachial artery after a high-fat meal. So it was looking to see if after you eat a high-fat meal, if your artery, they were looking at the brachial one in your arm, if it was going to constrict. Because we know when you eat a high-fat meal, your blood vessels like to constrict, and that's why there's less blood flow. So there was 38 subjects, and they used 3 different groups. And they had the placebo group, which is excellent, Juice Plus group for the fruits and vegetables, and then the third group is the Juice Plus fruits, vegetables, and vineyard. So that one adds the berries. So what they had done, they were measuring blood work and brachial artery studies using ultrasound. So they're using high quality, they're using humans and high quality research to measure for the results. So they used, like I said, randomized. So subjects were random to the groups. They didn't know which groups they were going into. It was double blind. Brett mentioned the researchers and the subjects didn't know which groups they were going into and what they were eating, and it was placebo controlled, so high quality. So they looked at weeks 3 and 4. They were using the brachial artery reactivity test before and 3 hours after eating a high-fat meal. And the high-fat meal was 50 grams of fat and about 900 calories. And so the results, this was just 4 weeks. So after just 4 weeks of eating Juice Plus and the Juice Plus Vineyard, they noted that it blunted the detrimental effect of the high-fat meals. So the arteries are usually like constricting. They weren't constricting as much. As you can see, group 1 is Juice Plus and just the fruits and veg. So on week 4, you can see it going down. Maybe it's between like 15 and 20% constriction. And if you're looking at group 2, that's Juice Plus fruits, vegetables, and berries. So when you add the berries, all those extra antioxidants, minimal constriction after eating a high-fat meal. So I'm just like, that's wonderful. The cardiovascular health, I get like super jazzed about it, because what they concluded, they said a high-fat meal, because it causes the temporary decrease in that brachial flow, the arterial flow, the daily consumption of the Juice Plus concentrate blunts the effects of the brachial artery vasodilation. And I was like, yeah, so it's keeping it open. So, and it said even when you're not eating the high-fat meal at the same time. So it helps keep the artery open, and so the blood can flow through it. So like, that's amazing. So if you're eating the fruits and veg, start eating the fruits, vegetables, and berries because they just have the extra antioxidants, and you can see that it's minimal arterial constriction, which is awesome. I think it's really cool. And I have a really cool story, a quick one, that it's my grandfather. I have a great picture. It's so funny. He had a lot of cardiovascular issues, heart attacks and stents put in throughout the years, and blood transfusion here and a defibrillator there and a pacemaker. So he had a lot of heart issues. And my grandparents started eating Juice Plus probably a couple of years after I had eaten it. And he was just eating it because I think he was just like, oh, he was eating the chewables, so they tasted pretty good, I guess. And he started eating it, and he goes to see a cardiologist every 3 months, and after he gets his blood work checked. And so several months later, he just got his blood work checked. They also check his ejection fraction, which is usually normal between 55 and 70, and that number looks at the heart's ability to pump and contract. So just think, 55 to 70 is a normal individual with no heart issues. My grandfather's was in the 20s. I was talking to my grandma because I wanted some accuracy on the story, and she's like, it was in the 20s. So he goes to see, which is horrible, and it just declines usually as you age because your heart is just getting weaker, and unless you do any kind of invasive surgery, and when you're older too, you're not going to be doing like angioplasties and shoving more stents and doing open heart surgeries. It really depends on the situation. And so they went to the cardiologist, got some blood work done, and my grandma the cardiologist, she said, was so shocked because, and I don't know the timeline, like how many months after he started eating Juice Plus, but his ejection fraction went to 48. And I thought, that's incredible. So the cardiologist checked it again because he didn't believe it, because he was like, he's been changing his meds throughout all this too. And like I said, he's had all this cardiac stuff going on, and the cardiologist didn't believe it. And they checked it again, and it was 48. So I was just like, wow, but it's like backed by science, and we might never know if it was the Juice Plus, but I'm like, looking at my study showing that there's an increase in arterial flow when you're eating Juice Plus. There's more blood going through the system and maybe helping the heart pump better. So I don't know, I just use science, right, to back up my story. And my grandma did mention though, as he aged and each time he kept going back, it did start going down again, the ejection fraction. And I mentioned that because that's just normal then. And at the end of his life, it was back in the 20s, she had said. So it was nice though. I thought the story was so amazing. I was like, as you age though, it's harder and harder to pump. And he had so much cardiovascular risk and history that I was like, eating Juice Plus is only going to help. And I just thought that was a really cool story. And I mentioned it because it's backed up by science. So that's my story related to the cardiovascular study. And I'm just going to send it back to Sarah, and she's going to be talking about a study related to cancer. So heart disease and cancer are the two biggest killers in Canada. So I'm really glad she's going to be talking about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that story about your grandpa. I know that was so amazing that he had that effect. And, you know, like you said, you never know, but even if it gave you guys a month more and him an extra month of quality of life, like fruits and veg, it's not going to hurt, right? All right, so I'm going to talk about my favorite study. And so this is a study that was not initiated by Juice Plus, meaning that we do not do disease-specific research. So this isn't something we would have initiated. But the MD Anderson Cancer Center requested our help in this study. So they used our products, the Juice Plus, as well as the shakes in this study on cancer survivors, and specifically ovarian cancer survivors. So as we know, cancer survivors do not eat enough fruits and vegetables. And so they really wanted to investigate how Juice Plus could help bridge the nutritional gap between what cancer survivors should eat and do eat. So they tested 51 women who had survived stage 2 ovarian cancer. And there were two groups. The first group, they were following the WELL diet, the Women's Healthy Eating and Living diet, which essentially equates to about 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. And the second group were asked to eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, plus take the Juice Plus Duo, which is just the fruits and veg, and then a complete shake every single day. So there was no placebo group in this for ethical reasons, because of how imperative for eating fruits and veggies for cancer survivors. They could not ethically say this group is going to take a placebo. So that's what Brett meant when he said some tests wouldn't be ethical. So they found that after 6 months of following this procedure, they found that both groups increased their blood levels of key antioxidants like carotenoids. They were both able to stabilize key markers of cancer, and it helped maintain health-related quality of life. And the 5-a-day diet with Juice Plus was found to be equivalent to the 10-a-day. So which one would be easier for cancer survivors who are having a hard time eating more fruits and vegetables? So it's easier to comply. Plus, the Juice Plus group had a better protein status, which is incredibly important for healing. So I want to talk about this. Really brings me to another area of research that often don't get to talk about. So I'm excited. So our plant-based protein does use soy, and we do use a non-genetically modified, the cleanest version, the most whole food, low processed, water washed, like really good process. But when I went to school, we were always taught, you know, soy, like there was so much information about soy that it was really confusing. And it wasn't until I got out of school and started to look at the actual research that was recent that it started to all make sense. So the fact about soy is that there's actually a lot of research showing the benefits and safety of consuming it. And this actually, when you think about it, makes sense because soy is a whole food. And there's no such thing as an evil whole food. It is about what man has done to it. So if you're eating,
or woman,
yeah, okay. If you're eating the pesticide-laden soy that's GMO, like maybe that wouldn't be great. And the fact is most soy out there is like that, so I'd be selective. But when you're talking about whole food soy, there are tons of benefits. Can actually impede cancer progression, even in estrogen positive cancers like ovarian cancer or breast cancer. And if that weren't true, the MD Anderson Cancer Center would have never used our complete shake mix ethically in their patients. So if that isn't a testament to the quality and safety of soy, then I don't know what is. Very recently, there was a huge study done. And this was by the Breast Cancer Family Registry, along with 3 different universities, all went into this and pooled into this. And they found that soy foods not only prevent breast cancer, but also benefit women who have breast cancer. This is so different from what most of us have been taught. So I'm going to explain why this might make sense. But first of all, soy gets a bad rap for containing phytoestrogens. A lot of men are afraid to eat soy because they'll grow man boobs. I always want to say, take off your shirt, Brett. And I'm doing it now. He's totally upset with me right now. But he has no man boobs, just so you know. He has a very nice body. And I'm making it awkward now for him. But soy contains phytoestrogens, but so do all of these other foods. So it's just a natural phytonutrient, and it is not the same chemical composition and does not utilize the same in the body as human estrogen. 2 completely different things. There's one type of estrogen that you do want to be cautious of, and that's xenoestrogens. So that's estrogens that are found in pesticides or in plastics, BPA. Those are things that are foreign and do disrupt the hormonal system in a negative way. But phytoestrogens can actually be quite therapeutic and good for the body, and that's what this research is showing. So let me show you a little bit about why that might be. So the phytoestrogens in soy are actually considered to be SERMs, so selective estrogen receptor modulators. So in a cell, there are 2 different types of estrogen receptors. There's the alpha receptor and a beta receptor. And human estrogen preferentially binds to the alpha receptor in the body, and what that leads to is higher cell turnover, which is not a good thing in an estrogen positive cancer. So we don't want more of that. And tamoxifen, which is the anti-cancer drug, is also a SERM, and what it does is it inhibits that proliferation by taking the spot of the alpha receptor so that human estrogen doesn't bind there. So that's what tamoxifen does. Isoflavone, which is a phytoestrogen within soy, it preferentially binds to the beta receptor, and the beta receptor is known to do the opposite of cellular proliferation, so anti-proliferation. So that's going to help benefit. So that's kind of the science behind why they're finding these results about soy. But the really cool thing is that they're also finding evidence that that wonderful little plant-based estrogen can take place in the alpha receptor, like tamoxifen, and it actually renders that alpha receptor unusable. It changes the chemical structure of it so that human estrogen can never bind to it again. So that to me is amazing. And science is always changing. So that is really, I think that's all. I think we did it. That was all we wanted to share tonight. We're going to be around for questions if anyone has anything else that they were wondering about or wanted us to go deeper in. We can also send any more information on the specific research studies. We have videos, we have audios, we have the actual peer-reviewed journals you can look at. So whatever it is you need. I'm just going to read you a few different Oh, no, I wanted that. Thank you. Okay, so I just wanted to end off with a few different quotes here. So there is nothing available anywhere else in the world with or without a prescription that has been proven to do what Juice Plus does in the body. Dr. Du Bois he worked at the CDC.
Yeah, he was one of the heads of the AIDS
of
department
infectious
in the CDC.
diseases. Yeah, so that's what he said. Thousands of doctors worldwide are recommending Juice Plus to their patients. One of them, Dr. Tamara Satches, put it like this: if you knew what I knew about Juice Plus, you wouldn't be a day without it, and you wouldn't allow your children to be without it either. Isn't that the truth of why we get so excited? A spoonful of prevention is worth a truckload of cure. So it's easier to raise a healthy child than to cure a sick adult, and that's what we're all about. So thank you so much for your attention tonight. And you know, if you've heard something tonight that speaks to you, you can absolutely reach out for more information. We'd be happy to help you out. If you maybe have thought about someone today who might benefit, please don't hesitate to connect them with us, and we will connect them with information so that they can decide for themselves whether or not this might be a good fit for them. So thanks so much and have a great night. I'll stop the recording and I'll open it up for any questions.